Ted William West, W-E-S-T.
Go ahead, Counsel. Thank you. Good morning, Ted.
Good morning.
Okay if I call you Ted?
It's fine.
Ted, how do you know Mr. West here?
I sure do.
Okay, who is he?
He's my father.
Where did you grow up?
Washougal, Washington.
So, lifelong resident?
Yes.
Okay. And you go to school out there too?
Oh, yeah.
And so as far as where you live, where was the last house you lived in Washington?
Do you want address?
Just a street, a rough area is fine.
Y Street. I can't remember. Sorry.
Was it the
34th Street.
Okay. And what do you currently do for a living?
I work at Wilco.
Now, I'm just going to take you back in time a little bit. Did you spend a fair amount of time with your mother when you were home?
Very much so.
Okay. Were you close to your mother?
Very much.
Close to your father?
Yes.
Would you say you're closer to your mother than your father?
We had different relationships, but I was closer to my mother.
And now, in the last few years that you lived there, maybe 2 or 3 years, how would you describe their relationship, your mother and your father?
Troubled, off and on, good, bad.
Okay. So, kind of ups and downs?
Ups and downs, yes.
Any fights?
Yes.
Like physical fights?
Never physical.
But arguments?
Yes.
And were there ever any fights about finances?
Maybe on occasion.
And I mean, how significant was that? Was that a big deal? Was that a big subject?
No.
Did they try to hide their fights from you guys?
They did their best, yes.
Now, it wasn't just you in the house, it was you, your mom, your dad, who else?
My sister as well.
Okay, how old is your sister compared to you?
She's 2 years younger.
And so, besides finances, what other kind of things would they fight about?
My sister.
Okay. And was that your sister doing bad things, or what? Why were they fighting about your sister?
Disagreements about parenting.
And now your dad, was he kind of a fitness guy for you growing up?
I'd say
Injection
so.
relevance.
I like the answer, Stan. And I'm sorry, what was the answer?
Yes, he was.
How about your mother?
Growing up, yes.
Okay, how about in the later years?
Later years, not as much.
Were you aware of her exercise habits?
Yes, I was aware.
What kind of exercise would she get, if any?
A lot of walking.
Anything else?
No, not that I know of.
How about her eating habits? Were you able to observe those?
Yes.
And what kind of food did she eat?
I'd say sugary foods, keto, on and off. Yeah.
And then, when you say sugar foods, you mean like cookies, that kind of thing?
Snacky foods. I couldn't tell you for sure.
Was that, when you describe her primary diet, would that be it, or what was her primary diet?
I mean, she was eating steak and other meat foods, dinner-wise, and then throughout the day it was snacky foods with. Yeah.
Any chips?
Yes.
And what would she drink typically, if you know?
Diet Pepsi.
You said that pretty quickly. Was it always Diet Pepsi?
Sometimes Diet Coca-Cola, or yeah.
Was it always Diet?
She tried, yes.
Sometimes not Diet?
Occasionally.
In a given day, would you be aware of how many cans she would have, or what did you notice in a given day?
I know she had a lot, but I couldn't give you a number.
Did she frequently have a can of diet soda in her hand?
frequently.
Now, how would your mother generally dress around the house?
Black leggings, pink tank top. Yeah.
How about at night, like bedtime, if you know?
About the same.
Okay. Now, I'm going to move you up a little bit to around the January 2024 timeframe, okay? And prior to that, let's just go back to, let's say, Christmas time. Do you remember Christmas of that year?
Yes.
Okay, that would have been, I guess,
Vaguely.
okay, your last Christmas with your mother, correct?
Yes.
And I understand that well. So were there other people there?
Yes, there was.
Where did you go for Christmas, if anywhere?
I can't remember for sure, but I know it was.
If you don't remember, it's...
I don't remember.
And, now, you say you work at Wilco now. Were you working at Wilco then?
Not then.
What were you doing then?
I was working as a firefighter in Battlegrounds.
So you graduated from high school what year?
21.
And so this would have been about a year and a half later, or something like that?
Correct.
2.5 years later, something like that?
Roughly.
Okay. And so you were a firefighter, or were you preparing?
I was preparing, going towards intern.
Okay. And so right around January, with regard to firefighting, what were you doing? January of 2024.
Still training as an EMT and doing fire classes at PCC.
Now, do you recall the day that your mother passed?
Yes.
And where were you when you found out?
I was in Battlegrounds, and I found out that morning.
And so, where were you in Battleground?
I was at the Station 31 in Battlegrounds when I was told.
So, using that as kind of a reference point, let's go to the day prior. Okay, this would have been January 7th. What do you recall? Let's just kind of walk you through the day a little bit. What do you recall about the morning of January 7th?
I remember hanging with my mom, making pancakes that morning, maybe watching some TV, playing cards, and massaging her back.
What do you remember about cards? What game did you play?
It's a game called Spite and Malice.
Okay. Is that a game you can pick up in the store, or is that just a family game?
It's a family game with bicycle cards.
So when did you make the pancakes?
I couldn't give you time.
And was everybody around for the pancakes?
I believe it was just me and her.
Okay. Was your dad around that morning?
I can't remember. I think he was out doing something.
Okay. Out running errands or something like that?
Possibly.
Okay. So you got up, you made pancakes, and you played cards with your mom. How'd you do playing Spite and Malice that day?
I'll say I had bragging rights afterwards.
Okay. You were a big winner that day.
Yes.
And so, did you have to go to work that night?
I left at 12 that day for the volunteer station.
And so what was going to be your schedule that night? So you went there, were you going to stay overnight or just work for the day?
I was going to stay the night and then go to my second day of my internship the next day.
Okay, so you're starting the internship. So staying overnight, is that part of the internship?
Yes, it is.
So you left about noon, and did you continue to talk to your mom after that, either on the phone or by text?
By text.
And what was the nature of your conversation?
Preparation for lunch the next day. We talked about how we had a good day, and I believe we talked about what we were going to do the following day.
And do you know how long you spoke with your mother or texted with her that day?
That evening, I'd say about an hour.
Okay. What was the last message you sent, if you can recall? Or what time was that? Let's try that.
Let's say about 4 o'clock, roughly, mid-afternoon.
And did you have an understanding of what was going on with her at the time?
Headache-wise?
Well, no, as far as, not physical thing, but as far as what was she engaged in, what kind of activities was she doing at that time? If you recall. If you don't remember, that's okay.
I don't remember.
Okay. And so you went to work and communicated with your mother till about 4, you said, right?
Somewhere in there.
Now, going back earlier in the day, you mentioned headache just a minute ago. What do you recall about her physical condition? Did she complain of anything that day?
I remember her having a big headache that day.
You got up about what time that day?
Usually I wake up about 7 or 8. I believe that was when I woke up.
And she complained of headache. When did she start complaining of the headache?
I'd say previous day, kind of leading into the 7th.
Okay. And she still had the headache on the 8th? On the 7th, I'm sorry?
On the 7th, yes.
Okay. Had you seen her with headaches before?
Oh, multiple times.
Okay. What, like in the few months before she passed, how often did she get these headaches?
I'd say about 4 times a year. I'm kind of eyeballing it.
Okay. And were they always pretty significant headaches that she complained about?
Yes.
And so this last one, you say started on the 6th and lasted the 7th. Did she complain about how bad a headache was?
Yes.
What was your understanding from
Objection.
as she was
Hearsay.
as she was describing how she's feeling? How did she describe this bad headache?
Objection. Hearsay.
I remember her head, holding her head a lot, and just saying that her head was hurting, but that's all I remember.
Did she do anything because she had a headache?
Usually she'd take like a pain med, like ibuprofen.
Did you see her do that a lot?
Yes, I did.
Not just 4 times a year, but frequently?
Frequently.
Did she always complain about the headaches that she had, as far as you know?
Yes, she was open about it.
Now, and the headache, she had it on the 6th into the 7th. Did she still have it when you left?
When I left, yes.
So now, you go to work and stayed overnight there, you said, right? How did you find out about your mother?
I wake up the next morning, I go to work, I'm talking with the guys, I see a guy passing back and forth pacing. He grabs me, he brings me back to the back room, and I see one of my dad's friends there, and he tells me that my mom had passed.
Which of your dad's friends was that?
Chris Castle.
And so, so what did you do after that?
I talked with him for a little bit, and then he drove me back to my house, where then I met with my dad.
How was your dad when you got there?
Just in tears.
I suppose you weren't feeling too good either?
No.
Okay. What time did you get to the house that day?
I'm going to say about 7.
So 7 a.m.?
Roughly, yes.
Okay. And was your mother still there?
Yes, she was.
Did you get a chance to say goodbye to her?
Yeah.
Okay, so
I went upstairs with my dad.
what did you do?
I got on my knees and gave her a hug, and then said my goodbyes. Said that I loved her.
So you said your goodbyes. Were there other people at the house at the time?
Yes, there was.
Like how many? I don't give me a number, but little or a lot. What?
There was a lot, roughly 10 firefighters. At least it felt like that.
Did you know a lot of these guys?
I knew them all.
So you said goodbye to your mother with your father, right? Is that right?
Yes.
And you came back downstairs? What'd you
Came
do?
back downstairs.
And what happened next?
We sat on the chair. I believe we talked with his firefighter friends. They comforted us, that kind of thing.
And did you don't tell me what he said, but did your father tell you what he experienced the night before with your mother? And you don't tell me what he said. Did he tell you that?
Yes.
Now, did you ever do anything for your mother to make her feel good? Would she ever request you to do something to make her feel good?
Yes.
What was that?
A lot of the time it was Diet Pepsi and a massage.
Okay. Well, we talked about the Diet Pepsi. We know about that. Tell me about the massage.
A lot of the time she'd ask who would want to be number one, and I'd do the Diet Pepsi and massage. I'd go over and I would just do shoulders, a little bit of back and neck.
When did you start giving massage to other people like that?
I couldn't give a specific age, but I'd say right around 10.
And so you've been doing it for years, it sounds like.
Yes.
And was it just your mother?
Everybody in the family.
Any relatives too, besides family?
Cousins, grandparents, yes.
So everybody kind of lined up for the TED massage?
Yes.
And you didn't have any training in this?
No training, all self-taught.
Self-taught. And so describe the massage you give your mother. Here, let's talk about specifically the one that you gave her on the 7th. And let me back up a little bit. What time did you give her that massage?
I believe it was closer to 12, maybe 11:30.
Okay. And so, kind of walk me through it. How would you start it? What parts would you touch? How did you touch them? Give us a general description of what you did.
Sounds good. Usually I would be starting at the shoulders. Sometimes I do side shoulder, sometimes back with the knuckles. And then I'd use elbow on the, I guess, valley between the neck and the shoulder. And then I'd go kind of high center neck too.
So valley between the neck and shoulder, what is that? Can you point it out on your own?
Totally. It was kind of at maybe the crest, or not the crest, but just the middle between where the shoulder and neck meets.
Can you show us on your left side so that you can see it together?
Not a problem. Kind of right here.
Okay. And you would just with thumbs, how would you press them?
Kind of like this, kind of a monkey grip, and then I'd use a lot of thumb strength, and then with the elbow, kind of like this, kind of right here, here, and on the back of the neck.
When you did this, how would your mother respond?
Depending on how hard I was pressing, she would let me know if I was pressing too hard.
Were there times you pressed too hard?
Yes.
Now let's talk about the 7th, that's Sunday. Were there times you pressed too hard that day?
Yes.
And when you touch the sides, and I'm not quite getting it exactly, but kind of where the neck meets the shoulder, somewhere in that area, how far forward did you go?
I would never go past the carotid.
Okay. You know where the carotid is?
I sure do.
Would you sometimes touch the carotid?
I'd touch it, yeah.
Okay. And then when you're working on the side of the neck, you say you use your elbow just a little bit, or would you press hard? How do you do that?
I'd kind of judge it on her pain tolerance level. But over time, I kind of got used to the pressure.
Okay. And so you've given massages to lots of people for lots of years, it sounds like. How was your mother's pain tolerance for that kind of massage?
It was definitely not as high as my father's.
Okay. But was it higher than your sisters or your relatives?
Definitely higher than my sisters and relatives, yeah.
Okay. And is it something she liked you to do?
Yes.
And you say you did on the back of the neck as well, how high up would you go on that?
I'd say beneath the skull, but I don't know my anatomy very well, but it was higher. I don't know if you can see that.
Okay. And how would you touch that area?
I would never use elbow, but I'm trying to remember. Sorry. I think it was mostly thumb.
Did you ever use your knuckles in that area?
Yes.
Okay. And did she have the same high pain tolerance for that area?
I'd say pain tolerance was lower up closer to the neck than shoulders.
Okay. More of a sensitive area?
Totally.
Okay. Now, when your mother passed and you came home, did you go right back to the fire station after that?
No.
What did you do?
I believe I took 2 weeks off.
Did you stay home the whole time?
Yes.
Okay. Let's talk about the first day. You got home about 7:30 in the morning, you say, right? And then your dad was there, you talked to your dad. What's the first thing you did after seeing your mother? You came back downstairs. Did you guys go anywhere?
Not that day. I believe it was just me, my dad, and my sister, and I think we sat on the couch, watched TV.
Was your sister home when you got home?
She was not.
Okay, where was she?
She was in Seattle in college.
Did you have any idea how she got from there to your house?
Yes, it was me, my dad, his old friend Scott, and we drove up in his truck to Seattle to pick her up.
Approximately what time did you leave to go get Megan?
I can't remember.
Do you remember where she lived?
In Seattle?
Yeah.
It was in one of the Washington Husky apartment deals.
Okay. One of those dorms named after a tree?
I believe so.
Okay. And so you go up there with your dad, and I'm sorry, who was the firefighter who drove you?
Scott Slocum.
Scott Sullivan. And how was your dad behaving on the way up?
Oh, in tears. We were all talking and crying at the same time.
Where was your dad sitting?
I believe front passenger.
So you go up there to get Megan,
Yes.
and you got Megan, your dad broke the news to her up there?
Yes.
How did that go?
Not good. I remember Megan screaming out of just pure sadness.
And so coming back, what was the scene?
Scott was driving, Dad was in front passenger, I was behind the driver, and I believe Megan was to my right.
Did your dad ever say anything to you about how he felt about your mother?
Objection, hearsay.
Sorry. The question was,
Did your
don't
mother-
answer until I have the answer.
Did your father ever say anything about how it made him feel about your mother passing while you were there? This is brought up with another witness here.
Are you objecting to the question?
I'm objecting to the hearsay for this question, Your Honor.
I'm asking whether or not he said it. I'm not asking what he said.
And I'm objecting to the leading man.
I'll overrule as to whether or not he said anything, to say what he said.
Yeah. Do you recall your father saying anything about how he felt about your mother passing while you were in that car ride?
According to, I'm sorry, can you clarify? Sorry.
I think it's a confusing question. I'm just going to strike the question. Okay? Never mind. You're doing great. That's
Apologies.
No. Okay, so you come back down. What time do you get back from Seattle, if you recall?
I can't recall. Late.
Before noon?
No, I think it was later, mid-afternoon, I think.
And when you got back, who was there, if you remember?
I don't think anybody. I think it was just the four of us, and then Scott left later on.
Did anybody else come over that day?
My memory's vague, I can't remember.
Okay. Do you remember your mother coming to the house that day?
My mother.
Your grandmother, I'm sorry.
I can't remember.
When you gave the massage, how would your mother be dressed?
Depended on the day, but most of the time it was black leggings, pink tank top, and that was kind of a leisure outfit.
Okay. And were you able to tell whether or not she was wearing a bra?
Yes.
Was she wearing a bra usually when you gave her a massage, or ever?
I could feel the straps at the top.
Okay. How often would you give a massage?
Probably every day if I was home.
Okay. Well, I mean, did you feel the bra straps every time you gave her a massage?
To my memory, yes.
Did you know Cynthia West, or I'm sorry, Cynthia Ward is?
Yes, I do.
Who is she?
She is with my dad right now.
It's your dad's girlfriend?
Yes.
When did you first meet her?
It was the day that my father was sent to jail. I met her at a Sherry's because I knew her from my dad's birthday party on the 18th.
So it was the first time you met her, at this gathering?
Yes.
Okay. And did you know who she was at that time?
I was introduced to her at that time.
Who was she introduced to you as?
It was a firefighter that used to work at his fire station.
Okay. Did you know that she was his girlfriend at the time?
At the time, no.
And so the next time you saw her was, you say, about a month and a half later when you picked up your father, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And then after picking up your father, where did you go?
I just want to clarify, it wasn't when I picked him up, it was the day he went to the funeral. Or, sorry, when he went to prison.
Okay. You say he was jailed briefly, correct?
Yes.
Okay. That day you picked him up, right? Or let's just, okay.
Sorry.
That day, where did you go after that?
So I met Cynthia at a Sherry's before I went to Eugene.
Okay. Why did you go to Eugene?
I met with my grandparents just for comfort.
Oh, to go stay with them a little bit?
Yes.
Okay, all right. And you met with Cynthia at
A Sherry's.
Sherry's. And did you know who she was to your father at that time?
At that time, I just knew her as a friend.
Okay. Now, at some time your dad got charged with this offense. You know that, right?
Yes.
Okay. Before that, did you know that he had a girlfriend?
No.
Okay. Was it after that you found out?
It was after he got out of
Okay.
jail.
After that, how did you find out?
It was me, my grandma, and grandpa, but we picked him up off the side of the road after he was released.
Okay.
Went to Burgerville, and he told me there.
Okay. When you first heard about, you didn't hear it from him at first, right? You did, about the claim that he had a girlfriend. He was not the first person you heard that from. Is that right?
He was the first person.
Okay. And what did he tell you? Don't have to tell me what he said, but well, no. Did he tell you that he had a girlfriend?
I guess I heard it from the possibility of it from other people,
Okay.
but he confirmed it.
So there's rumors going around about him having a girlfriend.
Correct.
Okay. And did you ask him about that?
I asked him because I didn't believe it at the time.
Did he admit it?
He admitted it right there.
And have you seen Cynthia since that day?
I have,
How often?
every day,
You living in the same place right now?
living with her right now.
Living with your dad?
I am.
After your mother passed, she still had her personal items around the house, right?
Yes.
What happened to those, if you know?
They were spread between, or separated between me and my sister.
And do you know what happened to the rest of the stuff? If you don't, it's okay.
I don't
If you do,
remember.
okay. Do you recall anything about furniture getting removed from the house?
Yes, I remember.
Okay. Did you play a part in that?
I remember before everything, we had furniture being changed out, or we had carpet being changed, and we put that off to the side for that.
Okay. And the carpet being changed or cleaned?
Cleaned, my apologies.
Okay. What was the reason for the cleaning, if you know?
Objection relevance.
Approval.
I believe we had cats barfing, puking underneath the bed.
Were you aware of a time when the bedroom furniture was removed and taken away from the house?
Before or after? Before or after everything?
Well, just, did you at some point become aware that the bedroom furniture had been moved out of the house?
Yes.
Okay. And did you play any part in removing that furniture?
No.
Were you living at the house were you at the house on 34th at that time?
I was.
And what, you played no part? You don't remember the discussions or anything?
I remember people helping with getting the bed frame out of there, but I was not part of it.
When, on Sunday morning the 6th, I'm going back there for just a second, when you first saw your mother, I know she had a headache, you said that earlier. Other than that, was she happy? How was she being?
Very happy.
When you played cards with her, was she happy?
Yes.
How about when you left? Was she still that way?
When I left, she was still happy.
Your last message at 4 o'clock, did she still convey that feeling through her messages?
Very definitely.
Now you have pets at home. I know you have cats.
We used to.
Okay, how many cats did you have?
We had 2.
Okay, one yours?
Yes.
And whose was the other?
Mine was a calico. It was Mittens, and then my sister had a cat named Weedle.
And you also had a dog?
Yes.
What was the dog's name?
It was Sadie.
Is Sadie with you at your house now?
Yes.
Whose dog was Sadie?
Objection relevance.
Irrelevant.
Pardon?
What's irrelevant?
If I can just lay a little foundation on it.
Okay, I'll sustain the objection for now. I'll lay for the foundation.
Do you know where the dog slept?
In the bed.
Whose bed?
My dad and mom's bed.
Now, were you able to observe over the years where on the bed the dog slept?
Usually at the center, taking up the most room.
Would you describe Sadie as like one of those really calm dogs that never says anything, or was she more like a barker? What did she say?
She, very vocal.
And what would make her vocal?
Passing strangers on the road.
Was she protected?
Yes.
Would you say she was closer to your mom or your dad?
Objection relevance.
Neither. They, close to both.
there ever any demonstrations of any Brazilian jiu-jitsu moves or anything like that at home?
No,
Your dad never showed you how to do one of those?
nope,
Was there ever any talk about doing that?
no talk.
Were you ever aware of your father having any training in this?
Objection leading.
No training.
Okay, that's all the questions I have. Thanks, Jan.
Crawford, is that right?
Thank you, Your Honor. Ted, I have a few questions for you, okay?
Okay.
Now, you mentioned on direct examination that your mother had a multi-day headache?
Multi?
Yes.
Yes,
You were interviewed by Detective Dean Tillson and Lauren Zapata on January 25th, 2024, correct?
correct.
You never, in the entirety of that interview, mentioned your mom having a multi-day headache.
Okay.
Yes or no?
I don't remember.
You were also interviewed by them again for a follow-up on August 14th, 2024, correct?
Correct.
And you never, during that interview, mentioned a multi-day headache for your mom. Yes or no?
I can't remember.
And then you also talked to myself and an investigator with our office in December of this year, correct?
Correct.
And you never mentioned a multi-day headache on that day either.
I can't remember.
So on the 3 times you have been asked about this case, you have never once mentioned a multi-day headache.
I can't remember.
You did not contact the medical examiners with concerns that your mom had a multi-day headache, did you?
I didn't know I was supposed to.
You provided a massage to your mom on January 8th, correct?
Correct.
And you did not provide information that you gave your mom a massage when you were interviewed on January 25th, 2024 by law enforcement.
I did talk about massage.
On January 25th, 2024, did you talk about a massage with Detective Dean Tillson?
I can't remember.
Did you talk about a massage on January 25th, 2024 with Detective Lauren Zapata?
Can you say the date again?
On January 25th, 2024.
Okay. I can't remember.
In fact, you did not talk about the massage that you gave your mother until after the autopsy results. Is that correct? With law enforcement.
I can't remember the timeline.
Your dad, you picked up your dad and met Cynthia, and that would have been in March, correct?
Roughly.
You did not talk with law enforcement prior to that date about a massage, did you?
I can't remember.
You did not contact the ME's office at that time
I was not.
about a massage.
I was not told to.
Well, you're a grown man. You could have looked at the ME's office and called them, correct?
Correct.
So on January 8th, 2024, you gave your mom a massage. And you were later interviewed by Detective Dean Tellison and Lauren Zapata on August 14th, 2024. Is that correct?
Yes.
And that meeting was audio and video recorded, correct?
Audio and video.
And you knew that it was audio and video recorded, correct?
I did.
And you had that meeting at Mr. Walker's office, did you not?
Yes.
You wanted Mr. Walker there and present, correct?
Yes.
And you understand that Mr. Walker is your father's lawyer, correct?
Yes.
He's not your lawyer.
Yes.
And during that meeting, when you were demonstrating the massage, Mr. Walker interjected, did he not?
Objection, relevance, Your Honor. It's
Also,
also,
there's some issue I need to resolve outside the front. Closing up that. Leaving that in the chair.
You want to stay?
You can, it's up to you.
Okay.
The objection.
pardon?
What's the objection?
Well, Your Honor, it's, first of all, whether or not I was there, I don't know. I know they're trying to show that he's biased, I get that part. But as far as I interjected, she's not saying what the interjection is. It's not relevant. She's trying to make it look like I'm guiding him. She's got the video. She can show the video. But asking him if I interjected is a vague question. Perhaps we ought to do an offer of proof on exactly that question. But it's simply not relevant. It makes it look like I'm interfering in the investigation, and I was not.
Okay, so were you gonna ask him about what he interjected, assuming he remembers it?
Yes, Your Honor. But I was only going to ask that question of, did he interject?
That's all you want to ask. Did he
Yes.
interject, and you want the answer there?
Yes, and then I'm not going
Overrule the
to.
objection. Bring in the jury. Welcome back. I overruled the last objection proceeding. Yes.
Ted, and while you were at Mr. Walker's office on August 14th, 2024, when you were demonstrating, did Mr. Walker interject?
Yes.
You mentioned on direct examination, you brought up the term carotids, correct?
Yes.
And you have EMT training, is that correct?
Yes.
And so you know pressure on the carotids is not good.
No.
You don't know that.
I do know that.
Okay. You never, on January 25th, 2024, brought up anything about touching your mom's carotid arteries with Detective Dean Tellison, did you?
No.
And on January 25th, 2024, you did not tell Detective Zapata about touching your mother's carotid arteries.
No.
And when you were interviewed on August 14th, you did not mention anything about touching your mom's carotids to Detective Dean Tellison.
No,
You did not tell Detective Zapata on that date about touching your mom's carotids.
no,
And when myself and Mr. Hammond interviewed you in December of this year, you never mentioned touching your mom's carotids.
no,
And now, Ted, you gave a demonstration, correct?
I did.
Detective Dean Tellison. And you recall that that was audio and video recorded, correct?
Yes, I do recall.
And you consented to that being recorded,
I
correct?
consented.
And do you recall Detective Dean Tellison said, so Detective Dean Tellison asked you, is the thought that some of her injuries may have come from the massage, or was it the time that the massage happened? He asked you that, correct?
Do you mind clarifying?
I'll skip to the next question. You were asked by Detective Dean Tellison, do you remember how long this massage went on for, correct?
I remember him asking.
And you replied, usually 5-10 minutes, correct?
Roughly.
And that no one else was in the room when this happened, correct?
Correct.
And Detective Dean Tellison asked you about the amount of pressure you were using when he interviewed you on the 14th.
Yes.
And you said, I push harder and harder, but I always make sure I wasn't hurting the person.
Yes.
And then Detective Dean Tellison asked you a clarifying question. Had anybody that you ever given a massage to said, whoa, too much, ease back as far as pressure? He asked you that, correct?
Yes.
And you said, sure, and I'd back off, and okay, I'd be able to control that. You said that to Detective Dean Tellison on August 14th, 2020.
Do you mind saying that again?
You said, and sure, I'd back
No,
off.
this is improper impeachment for the object. It's not refresh recollection.
And you told Detective Dean Tellison, sure, and I'd back off, and okay, I was able to control that.
Yes.
And so if you were hurting someone, you would pull back. You wouldn't just leave it there, correct?
I'd never keep pushing.
The point of this massage was to provide your mother with comfort, correct?
Correct.
Because you loved your mom.
Yes, very much.
You love your mom.
Very much.
And Detective Dean Tellison asked you, during this particular massage, did Marcy give any indication of either too much pressure or discomfort? Do you recall that?
I do recall.
And you said, not to my recollection.
I don't remember that.
Detective Dean Tellison asked you, did she give any feedback during this massage? And you replied, no.
Did she give feedback?
Yes.
I remember her giving feedback.
But you, when you were interviewed about this on August 14th, 2024, when asked that same question, you said, no, she did not give feedback.
Sometimes she does, sometimes she doesn't.
Detective Dean Tellison asked you on August 14th, 2024, do you believe that the massage injured her or caused injuries? Do you recall him asking you that?
I don't remember.
Would it refresh your memory to look at that portion of the transcript from that day?
The transcript or the audio?
The transcript.
Sure.
Ted, I'm showing you a portion of your transcript. If you could please read that and indicate whether or not it refreshes your recollection.
And you just want me to tell you if I remember this or not?
Yes.
I don't remember.
So you don't remember Detective Tellison asking you, had you ever caused Marcy any injuries during previous massages, to which you replied, never.
I remember him asking, but I don't remember answering that way.
Do you recall him asking, have any of your massages with anybody, parents, cousins, friends, whoever, caused any injuries to anyone that they told you about, and you replied, never, ever?
Maybe I answered in a way that I'd never injured anyone, and that was because I was holding back.
Would it refresh your memory to watch the audio-visual demonstration that you performed?
Sure.
Has that been marked as an exhibit? No, I mean the transcript.
No.
Can you mark it, please?
It's not required when you're asking somebody to refresh recollection to have the document marked as an exhibit.
I would ask
Try to
that,
have it done.
I would ask that it be marked.
All right, now, Ted, would you be able to demonstrate the massage that you gave your mom on the CPR dummy there for us today?
Sure.
You show us exactly what you did.
Sure. You want me pointing towards the jury?
That'd be great, so we can see.
Okay. Usually I'd start at the shoulders, and I'd use my thumbs, kind of pressing in with the front fingers and back. And then sometimes I'd go to the side and kind of do some circles on the side. Sometimes I'd be kind of doing circles on both sides of the spine. And this could be with fingers, knuckles, or it could be with my elbow. I would also do knuckles here at the neck. I would also do elbow here and behind the carotid here. And then I'd also do it right about here on the neck. And that was the extent of what I do every time.
And you say that that's what you would do every time?
Every time. Not in the same order, but right above there.
So your testimony today is that you would do this every time?
Every time.
Okay, please just see.
Sure.
Now, Ted, you would recognize the recording of your massage if you were to see it today in court.
Yes.
And you would recognize it based on your appearance and the date and where it was located.
Yes.
I'm I'm gonna just show you a brief second portion for you to make sure you can identify it, okay?
Okay.
Sorry, count the exhibit number.
It's 185, Your Honor. It's right there. Now, Ted, this is you on August 14th, 2024, correct?
Correct.
And that's Mr. Walker's office?
That is Mr. Walker's office.
And like we've mentioned before, you were aware that you were being audio and video recorded.
I was aware.
You consented to that.
Yes, I did.
Your Honor, move to publish 185.
Are you moving to admit it?
Move to admit and move to publish, Your Honor.
No objection. 185 is admit. Go ahead.
All right, so video is going. Ted West is going to demonstrate the massage given to Marcy West on January 7th, I believe. Okay. So whenever you're ready, please.
Kind of the general, it's kind of hard to see from your point of view, but I would kind of press and just go in a circular motion on the back, trying to find those knots.
Oh, okay.
And then I would also take my knuckles and I would kind of go in a circular motion here. And then there's also knots that I would find kind of back of the armpit area, pressing in. Trying to find that there. And sometimes her actual arms I would kind of massage as well. Of course, there's no arms here, but that's the general idea of what I would do. Also, I believe I mentioned this, I would get here. I'm more comfortable with my right arm, having that control there, so I would do this. And sometimes I would just kind of brace myself or brace her, I guess, and I would control it that way.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
Yeah. And were there any other areas that you can remember from that massage that you had like touched or targeted?
Not to my knowledge, no.
Okay. And when you were using the elbow, that was more on top of the shoulder, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay.
I can't recollect if I did it this day, but sometimes I would kind of push in lower on the back, just maybe halfway down.
Okay.
Sometimes there would be pain there, so I would help there.
Okay.
And Ted, just to be clear, you're describing what you would generally do. This is what you recall generally doing that day, but it's not exactly a complete reenactment of what you did, is that right?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, so I cannot remember exactly what I did, but that is most of the time what I would do.
Okay. Do you have any other questions?
Regarding that.
Okay. And the pressure with the knuckles was on the side of the neck, is that correct?
Yeah, kind of back to side here. Sometimes it would be lower.
Okay.
Kind of like that. Just
Okay.
something like that.
Perfect. Was there anything on either like the head or the back of the neck?
didn't do it this day, but sometimes I would grab the back of the jaw, or maybe not the jaw, but behind the jaw, and I would kind of pull up, relieving some stress there.
Okay,
But it's just another technique that I've learned over time.
awesome. I don't think I have any other questions, do you?
Not specifically with the mannequin, no.
Okay. Mr. Walker? No. Okay, so we will end the video recording. It's 9:19.
And now, Ted, you've been living with your dad and Cynthia in Escada, correct?
Correct.
I have no further questions.
Read it.
Ted, you've been interviewed several times by Detectives Zapata and Tellison, correct?
Correct.
And you were interviewed by the prosecutor and her...
Objection leading.
Overruled. By the prosecutor and her investigator, correct?
Yes.
Okay. When you first met with Detectives Zapata and Tellison, were you asked if you'd given a massage during that first meeting?
Was I asked if I gave a massage?
Right. You earlier testified, let me go back. You earlier testified that you don't recall telling them. Do you recall being asked? The first meeting.
Sorry, counsel, let him answer the question.
I don't remember him asking. I believe I brought it up.
And during the second, during that first one, do you recall being asked if you had done something to her carotid artery during that first meeting?
I don't remember talking about the carotid.
Okay. Do you remember ever being asked if you had given her a massage or anything like that before that meeting in my office?
Never.
And you heard me interject. I was just asking you if you had, is that what you generally did? What you showed us here today, is that a general massage that you do?
General, yes.
Is it the same every single time?
It's not the same every single time.
Do you keep a log of exactly what areas you touch
Objection
each
leading.
time? Do you keep a log of the areas you touch every time?
No, it would be silly.
Did I interfere with them taking a video of you voluntarily showing that massage?
No.
Now, you were asked about saying you would do it harder and harder and you wouldn't hurt, correct?
Correct.
You're not trying to hurt anybody, right?
Never.
Were there times when people would indicate, that's too hard?
Yes.
And then what would you do?
I'd let up, go about halfway back.
You're not aware if you've ever injured anybody.
I am not aware.
You're not trying to hurt people, are you?
No.
Now, the demonstration you gave in the video at my office on August 14, 2024, that was in regard to a massage you had done on January 7th of 2024, correct?
Say the last date one more time, sorry.
January 7th, your last date?
Yes.
Okay. Is your memory really clear what you did at that time?
No.
Okay. Is your memory completely clear today?
It's less clear than it was.
Okay. And has anyone ever made you aware that you caused a bruise?
No.
All right, that's all I have. Thank you, Tim.
Of course.
No, Your Honor.